Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brendan Lepol and you're watching News at 10. Our headlines tonight. Malaysia's economy grew by 8.9% in Q2. And businessman charged with cheating company director. And thanks for your company. Now, Malaysia's economy posted a sterling growth of 8.9% in the second quarter of 2022 as domestic demand continued to strengthen, underpinned by the steady recovery in labour market conditions and ongoing policy support. Bank Negara Malaysia, BNM, attributed a higher growth as reflective of normalising economic activity as the country moved towards endemicity and reopened international borders. Governor Tan Sri Noor Shamsiah Muhammad Yunus said exports remain supported by strong demand for electrical and electronics (E&E) products by sector. The services and manufacturing sectors continue to drive growth. While the gross domestic product (GDP) was lifted to some extent by the low base from the Full Movement Control Order (FMCO) in June 2021, the central bank said growth in April and May 2022 was particularly robust. On a quarter-on-quarter seasonally adjusted basis, the economy increased by 3.5% as compared to 3.8% in the first quarter of 2022.
So when we were made aware...
With the growth in the first half of 2022 at 6.9%, the economy is projected to expand further for the remainder of the year. Tan Sri Noor Shamsiah said that while external demand could face headwinds from slower global growth, the Malaysian economy will continue to be supported by firm domestic demand moving forward.
So for the third quarter, the annual growth will be even much higher than the second quarter because of the base effect. All in all, for the whole year, we are still sticking to our growth forecast of 5.3 to 6.3.
Tan Sri Noor Shamsiah said this in a press conference to announce Malaysia's economic performance in Q2 2022 in Kuala Lumpur today. She added that growth would also benefit from improving labour market conditions and higher tourist arrivals. However, Malaysia's growth remains susceptible to weaker than expected global growth, escalation of geopolitical conflicts and supply chain disruptions. Employers are urged to ensure that their foreign workers undergo a health screening to prevent the transmission of urban malaria, as happened in Pulau Pinang. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the health screening is crucial as to allow the virus to be detected earlier and relevant prevention measures implemented faster. He said the situation is still under control and so far there have been no reported deaths in the state due to the disease. Furthermore, more cases are not local and are mostly found on immigrants. Urban malaria has also been detected in other states.
Ada kita dapati terutamanya mereka yang datang dari Afrika. Jadi saringan kesihatan itu penting. Setakat ni kematian tak ada. Saya tak ada angka sekarang. Kalau kita kena lihat untuk seluruh negara. Mungkin terlepas daripada saringan itu yang kita dapati kes-kes gejala lepas tu dikesan positif malaria.
When asked on the newly identified Alanya virus in China, with dozens of cases recorded so far, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the ministry is closely monitoring the development of the situation. The first meeting of the Special Parliamentary Committee regarding the Tobacco Control Bill will be held next week. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said all views and opinions of the committee members will be taken into consideration before the bill enters voting in the Dewan Rakyat.
Cuma nak kena perhalusi sedikit dia punya peruntukan secara teliti. Dia nak tengok kepada kuasa penguatkuasaan dan juga tahap tender dan sebagainya. Itu kita boleh bincang. Tapi janji, insyaAllah kita dapat sokongan.
He said this to reporters after the launching of the Johor State-Level Healthy Malaysia National Agenda Tour in Bandar Dato' On, Johor Bahru, Johor today. On 2nd of August, the Dewan Rakyat has agreed to refer the bill to the Parliamentary Special Committee to make improvement recommendations. The committee must provide an improvement proposal for the bill over the duration of 1 month. The Tobacco and Smoking Control Bill 2022 is designated to prohibit the sales of tobacco products and smoking devices to those born up to 1st January 2007. It is to come into effect on the year 2025. A businessman was charged with 8 counts of cheating a company director into Sessions Court in Georgetown today, involving losses of about 1.9 million ringgit. Chan Eng Leong, 48, pleaded not guilty to all the charges, which were read out to him before Judge Khalid Abdul Karim and Judge Mazdi Abdul Hamid. Chan was alleged to have deceived global tobacco manufacturer International Sdn Bhd director Goh Kim Hyong, 39, into transferring shares worth about 1.895 million ringgit to his company Natural Transform Sdn Bhd in return for settling a cigarette tax case with the Royal Customs and Excise Department. He was charged with committing the offences on 3 separate occasions in 2019. The accused was allowed bail of 230,000 ringgit with one surety for all charges, ordered to surrender his passport to the court and to report to the nearest police stations once a month until the case has been completed. The court set 27 September for remention. Google Cloud announces plans to establish cloud region in Malaysia. Stay with us. Google Cloud announced plans to form a cloud region, the first of its kind in Malaysia, to fulfill the increasing demand of cloud computing services in the country. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the proposal would not only complement the National Digital Initiative, but would also empower businesses and individuals.
It's a sign that our private-public sector partnership approach is also attracting the right high-quality investments in digital infrastructure and is on track to reach our target of 70 billion ringgit by 2025.
He said this during the Google Cloud announcement for the first cloud region plan in Malaysia at the federal capital held virtually. Through the development, Google Cloud would reinforce and bolster the government's My Digital Action Plan. The plan was made with the purpose of achieving a digital economy that can contribute 25.5% of the Malaysian gross domestic product, GDP, by the year 2025. Now, over 2,000 individuals are needed to fill the employer shortage in the Walit bird's nest industry. According to Minister of Agriculture and Food Industries, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Hyandi, worker shortage in the sector may directly impact the quantity and quality of the products, which would also disrupt exports of the bird's nest. Taking into account its potential as a niche demand market item, the government has agreed to allow the intake of foreign workers to support the industry. It is based on the annual production capacity of a company and is subject to the conditions for foreign worker intake, which are currently in enforcement.
Sebelum ini kita tak ada spesifik kelulusan untuk industri. Ini kerana industri sarang burung walet merupakan satu industri yang berkembang, pesat, yang juga telah menyumbang kepada pertumbuhan ekonomi, dan industri memerlukan sejumlah pekerja yang agak besar dalam setiap kilang pembersihan sarang burung ini sebelum diekspor.
As of 31st December 2021, the industry has employed a total of 2,213 workers, with part of it being foreign workers. He said this after launching the My Wallet system at the Malaysia Agriculture, Horticulture and Agro-Tourism MAHA 2022 in Serdang today. The government has allocated 6.4 billion ringgit for the implementation of 54 infrastructure development projects in Kelantan. The projects include the Central Spine Road and the Kota Baru Kuala Krai Expressway. Senior Works Minister Dr. Sri Fadila Yusof said in terms of project implementation, some of the projects are almost completed.
Keseluruhannya 6.4 bilion adalah untuk negeri Kelantan ni, nilai projek yang daripada kajian persekutuan yang merupakan infra, bila kata infra merakumi jalan dan juga bangunan-bangunan persekutuan yang dibina dalam peruntukan Kementerian yang dilaksanakan melalui JKR ataupun Kementerian Kerja Raya.
He said this after visiting the Wakaf Baru Breach project site in conjunction with the East Zone FT Roadpedia 3.0 tour program. On the Wakaf Baru Bridge project, Dr. Sri Fadila said work on the project, costing 105.5 million ringgit, started in February 2018 and is scheduled for completion in November this year. The project involved upgrading of the 1.56-kilometer stretch of road to Pangkalan Kubo. And in other news, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah today granted an audience to Deputy Prime Minister of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, who is also the Foreign Minister at Istana Negara. It was the first audience by Sheikh Mohammed, who is in Malaysia, on an official visit to Asia. Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Datuk Sri Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin said during the 30-minute audience, Al-Sultan Abdullah and Sheikh Mohammed discussed, among others, the close bilateral relations between Malaysia and Qatar, which was established since 1974. The two leaders also touched on efforts to strengthen trade and economy between the two countries to a higher level, including on a proposal to enhance ties to a level of strategic partnership in the future. The King also expressed the hope for more companies from Qatar to continue to invest and expand their business in Malaysia, including in real estate development. In 2021, Qatar was Malaysia's sixth largest trading partner and export destination, as well as import among the West Asian countries. Meanwhile, Malaysia and Qatar remain committed towards the continued channeling of aid to Palestine and Afghanistan following the ongoing turmoil in the two countries. The commitment was expressed by Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Abdullah and Sheikh Mohammed.
The bombing of Gaza by Israel, and we also agreed to work together in rendering humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan and a few other areas of concern. Generally speaking, Qatar and Malaysia are on the same page on most of these issues.
We are very much concerned about the humanitarian situation and the deterioration of the humanitarian situation there in Palestine, and especially in Gaza after the last round of bombing that the people in Gaza have been exposed to. We very much also welcome to work together on the humanitarian front over there.
The meeting was a follow-up of the official visit by Prime Minister Dr. Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob to Qatar earlier in March. It was also as an early preparation ahead of an official visit by the Qatar Emir Sheikh Tamim Hamad Al Thani to Malaysia in 2023. Australian court orders Google to pay $43 million for misleading users. Stay with us.
With the MERS 999 application system, getting emergency assistance is now easier. Save Me 999 Police connects the Malaysian public to the police. Save Me 999 Deaf for those with hearing or speech impairments. And Save Me 999 Blind for those with visual impairments. Download now for free on your smartphones. MERS 999 and applications make emergency calls easier.
And in sports, FIFA officially advances World Cup by a day for Qatar. Stay with us. And welcome back. Now, the World Cup in Qatar will kick off a day earlier than scheduled. Governing body FIFA said on Thursday, after its ruling bureau agreed unanimously to hold the opening ceremony and the host nation's first match on Sunday, 20th November. The original plan was for the opening ceremony to be held before Qatar's game on 21st November against Ecuador, which would have created the unusual situation of two matches, Senegal versus Netherlands and England versus Iran, being held before the ceremony. Normally, the ceremony is conducted before the kickoff of the first game of the tournament. The Group A match between Senegal and Netherlands, originally scheduled to be the tournament opener, has been pushed back by 6 hours from 1 p.m. local time on 21st November to the 7 p.m. slot vacated by Qatar versus Ecuador. The plan has been signed off by a committee comprising of the heads of FIFA's 6 regional confederations and President Gianni Infantino. FIFA said the decision followed an assessment of the competition and operational implications, as well as a thorough consultation process and an agreement with key stakeholders and the host country. Ticket holders will be duly notified by email that the relevant matches have been rescheduled and the tickets will remain valid irrespective of the new date and time. And wrapping up the news at 10, in our top story, Malaysia's economy grew by 8.9% in Q2. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. Until then, it's lights out. I'm Brenda Lepal. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend and stay safe.